All right, everyone. It is that time. It's that time for another edition of Maryland's Cafe Society radio show right here on YouTube. And of course, today is Saturday. It's the 27th day of 2021. How are you doing on this Saturday? Again, as we talk about weather, when I was on the radio, I always gave my weather report. We've turned that corner. Yeah, we do kind of drop into some 40s, and I believe later next week, or the early part of this weekend, I should say, we may dip into the upper 30s at night, but for the most part, we turned the corner. We've been experiencing temperatures in the 50s for the most part this week, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I do enjoy spring. It is one of my favorite seasons, as those who have been with the show may already know. And so here we are. It's of course a holy weekend. We Tomorrow will be Palm Sunday, and so in case I forget to say it at the end of the show, I just want to wish everyone who is celebrating a happy Palm Sunday. And then of course next week we move into the Holy Week leading up to Easter Sunday. Well, I've been chugging along, busy working the business and doing the business, as they say, and of course, keeping myself occupied as we continue to move through this unprecedented time here in the United States, being in this COVID-19 pandemic. I hope you guys have been staying safe and taking care of yourselves. And of course, speaking of the pandemic, I want to jump right into some numbers for you just to kind of give you that latest update with where we are in the pandemic. John Hopkins is still reporting roughly 126 million COVID-19 cases globally, with just under 2.8 million deaths. Here in the United States, again, we're still leading the world. We now have more than 30 million confirmed cases and around 547,000 confirmed deaths. Now, related to that, the United States Labor Department has reported the new unemployment claims filed just last week. Those numbers dropped to just 684,000, which is a great improvement. And that is another pandemic era low, everyone, as well as an indication that we are turning things around in the right direction. So let's continue to do what we need to do to keep those numbers going down. Now, sadly, we are still hearing reports of some states. I think, initially when I gave the number last week, it was 15 states reporting a slight uptick in cases. Now that number has increased, and so all that means is, the weather is getting warmer. Kids have been on spring break. Folks have been vaccinated, and so I think some are feeling that they can move around a little bit more and not adhere to some of the policies. Yeah, on top of that, some of the states have even um, abolished their mask mandate. So in some states, people are not required to wear masks, and many are feeling a bit freer and taking advantage of that. And so that's why we're seeing the uptick, but we have to, just stay diligent. Those of us who understand the importance of slowing the spread and just doing what we need to do to make sure that we continue to show progress as opposed to going backwards. Now, in our stimulus related news, the state and local government job losses during this pandemic has already been recorded as being 3 times greater than they were during the Great Recession. And of course, Blacks here in the United States, particularly those with government jobs, have been hit pretty hard. As a result, President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan addresses this disparity by directing $350 billion to reversing the damage that has been done to Blacks and Black families. Now, it also sends relief directly to thousands of small towns and counties by bypassing the red tape of waiting for their dollars to come through their state governments, right? So it's going directly to them. And unlike the CARES Act, the American Rescue Plan gives the state as well as these local governments and municipalities the flexibility to use the money for more than just costs of their directly related um, costs of managing the pandemic, but they can use those funds also to prevent job losses and job cuts. So that's a good thing. Now, last week, I briefly mentioned how the American Rescue Plan will potentially keep many Americans from falling into poverty. And here's a little bit more detail on how. Now, several provisions within the um, plan will provide immediate relief to women and children by including 39 billion for child care providers. 130 billion will go to K through 12 schools so that they can safely reopen as well as address any learning loss. Now, additionally, the plan offers an expanded tax credits of up to $3,600 per child to parents. Yeah, that's awesome. Now, collectively, all of these perks and other provisions could indeed help lift 4 million children out of poverty. And so that's the good news in all of this. And I know there is some negatives, to this plan that is in full effect right now. But if we can help children and women, and obviously senior citizens and men, you too, then that's a win-win for all. Oh, and you all, I know you've been watching the news and you've been keeping up prayerfully with what's been happening in Georgia, but voting rights are on the line, not only in Georgia, but across the country here now on Thursday. Tough new voting restrictions were enacted by Georgia Republicans, which happens to be the most, or I should say, the first among similar moves that are planned by Republicans across the country. Now, during his first media briefing since being in office, President Joe Biden described the planned bills as sick and un American. And of course, the critics are calling it the new Jim Crow. Um, what that measure did was it imposed new identification requirements. Are we really going back there, people? It limits the use of drop boxes for absentee ballots and criminalizes individuals for giving people water who, are standing in line waiting to vote. This is incredibly reminiscent of those times back in the 1950s and 60s. And, certainly we can't stand by and allow this to happen. And, I don't like to get political. I don't like to get into uh, political talk and all of that. I try to stay in my lane. And there are people, women especially, who were birthed for such a time as this. And they are certainly on top of this. And on the ground in the corporate suites and offices working on this. But I do want to say that this is something, we all try to live our lives, work our jobs, tend to our families, enjoy our families, and sort of live in a bubble. But we have to pay attention to what's going on in the world around us, particularly in our own country here in the United States. These laws and legislations that are being passed do affect our lives, and so we don't want to roll back time, people. We want to be progressive. We want to, of course, make sure that everyone's right to vote is protected, and we cannot stand by and let something like this happen. So I urge you to reach out to some of these voters' rights organizations that are on the ground working in this work, and support them however you can financially, um, through volunteerism, or, even just making sure that you reach out to your elected official in your state, your community, to make sure that you know where they stand on all of this. Again, we're not trying to roll back time, everyone. We want to keep progressing forward. And this is a rollback. It really is. So let's just pay attention, be aware, and certainly we'll keep our eye on this. Let's shift real quick to some business news. It will be a short show today. Um, but I do want to kind of just give you a stock market overview. Big tech stocks stumbled this week, and of course, Facebook, Tesla, Microsoft are the big ones that I'm thinking of, and they dipped, which caused the Nasdaq and the S&P to drop. Now, energy is still a big winner; they're performing quite well in the S&P sector, and but despite that, it appears that we may be headed to a repeat of 2008 when it comes to gas prices. Yes, you guys remember that. We were paying $4 or more a gallon for gas back in 2008. It was so painful for some of us, and thank goodness, um, many of us were, positioned where, we felt a little discomfort, because we weren't used to paying that much. But nevertheless, we got through it and made it. But it may be happening again. According to AAA, the United States has reached an average of $2.88 per gallon just last week. Now, that's a 37% increase from what we were paying in gas last year. Now, how did this happen, or why did this happen? Well, typically in the spring, as we approach summer, the gas prices go up anyway, right? Slightly. But this 2021 jump can be for one or two reasons. One, of course, demand. It appears that, we've we've felt that we are no longer on lockdown, and so many people are hitting the roads, driving again, and of course that puts a pressure on demand. Now, the second reason could be the fact that the oil refiners are in slow production, especially in Texas, which happens to be the nation's largest natural gas producer. And that's because of last month's historic Arctic blast. Remember when Texas got hit with all of those freezing temperatures? Well, they're not used to operating and working in that kind of weather with those refineries. And so things are a bit slow, which means that the demand increased, but the production decreased, and so obviously it's a win-win for the industry because they get to benefit from the uptick in gas prices. All right, and so how much do you think we'll be paying before summer's over with? Well, some are saying we're going to surpass the $3 per gallon price. So, brace yourself and be ready. And, you know, for those who aren't concerned, well, good for you. That's a good position to be in. But everyone else, just kind of plan accordingly. Gas may slowly start to creep up as we get into summer, and potentially, according to some analysts, bypass the $3 per gallon mark. All right, and then we're going to get into our entertainment news. Well, Beyonce became the most awarded woman in Grammy history. Yes, 28 Grammys. Uh, and it now ties her with Quincy Jones. And then, of course, her beautiful daughter, Blue Ivy, became the second youngest person to win a Grammy. Taylor Swift became the first woman musician to win Album of the Year 3 times. And so we send our congratulations to all of them. But there's another award show in the works. Now that the 2021 Grammys Awards is behind us, everyone who loves reggae and world music is gearing up for the 39th International Reggae and World Music Awards show, who happened to recently announce their nominees. Now, I'm going to just read a few categories, but actually, I'm going to give you the actual number in terms of how many categories are here. There are actually 31 categories, and then there's two special awards that will be given out. Now, the one of the most popular categories is the Bob Marley Award for Entertainer of the Year, and the nominees in that category include um, Buju Banton, Coffee, Popcorn, Protege, and Sizzla Kalong. All right. And another category for the Peter Tosh Award for Recording Artist of the Year. The nominees include Coffee, Buju Banton, Popcorn, Protege, and Taurus Riley. Okay, and then I'll give you one for women since we're still in Women's History Month. This is the Best Female Vocalist category, and the nominees are Elena, Coffee, Lilia Ike, Savannah, and Naomi Cohen. So those are just some of the categories. As I said, if you go to www.irawma.com, you'll get the full list of all of the nominees in all of the categories. All right. And so, what this means is now you can vote publicly. And as you can see, by the way, Coffee is a multi nominated um, nominee in several categories. And Buju Banton tops the 39th IRAWMA with 11 nominations. And so apparently he did this last year too with 11 nominations. And so he's leading the pack again for this year's awards show with 11 nominations. Now, the 39th annual IRAWMA show will happen on Sunday, May 2nd, and it will be obviously virtual, but coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica, this go round. And it's an exciting time. The again, the public voting is going on right now and will wrap up on April the 20th at midnight. So cast your vote. If you enjoy reggae music and world music, again, you can go to www.irawma.com to see the full list of nominees in the various categories and to cast your vote. Again, you must do that before midnight, April 20th. And again, the show is set for Sunday, May 2nd, virtually. And I'll give you more information as we move closer to that date. But I just want to talk a little bit about reggae music because I know that it's still not hugely supported, um, you know, here in the United States. I mean, it's grown dramatically, as you'll see, as I kind of take you on this historical journey about reggae music. Um, Reggae is a musical genre developed by Jamaicans of African ancestry in the late 1960s. Now, reggae bands incorporate musical idioms from many different genres, including mento, which is a Jamaican folk genre, ska, rocksteady, calypso, and even American soul music and rhythm and blues is are the genres of music that makes up what's called reggae. Now, the genre is specifically known for its propulsive percussion, its hypnotic bass lines, and steady upstroke rhythm guitar called the skank beat, which of course has helped it cut through as a dance music genre. Now, most reggae songs feature lyrics in Jamaican English or Jamaican Patois or lyric dialects. Now, one of the signature forms of Jamaican music, this reggae, is closely tied to social and political movements that trace its roots back to 1930s in Jamaica. Of course, reggae artists often sing about spiritual power and social justice, and that kind of aligned the genre with the popular music that was coming out of the United States in the late, um, mid to late 60s, And so some of the famous reggae artists include Bob Marley and the Wailers, which that particular band formed back in 1963. And it was initially known for its ska and dance hall hits, which of course inspired contemporary bands like the Ska Delights. Now, Bob Marley and the Wailers certainly put reggae on the international platform, um, by capturing the attention of Eric Clapton, who covered I Shot the Sheriff, which was penned by Bob Marley in 1974. And that, of course, as I said, put reggae music on the map, and offshoots of the music started to come into existence. The dance hall, the jungle, the toasting, the drum and bass and dub music. And then contemporary reggae fusion subgenres include reggae tone and reggae and samba reggae and reggae step. And some of these genres are even more popular in cities like New York, Miami, London than they are in Kingston, Jamaica itself. And so that's just a quick synopsis of what's happening, or how this reggae music came into existence. Of course, we know Jamaica initially was colonized by the Spanish, and then, of course, Europeans came in, and so there's a mismatch of dialect and music, along with the American influences that really brought this genre of music into existence. And so, thank goodness for the International Reggae and World Music Awards organization for putting promoting reggae music on such a large scale. And so again, we certainly encourage you to support it by casting your vote before April 20th by going to IRAWMA.com. That's IRAWMA.com. And of course, tune in on Sunday, May 2nd, virtually for the show itself. All right. And that takes us to Women's History Month as we close it out. This is the last Saturday in the month of March. And boy, next time we get together, everybody, we'll be in the month of April, which is a good month as well. And so for this month, I'm spotlighting, and as we close out this month, I should say, on this particular Saturday, I'm spotlighting and lifting all women. Yes, you. Yeah. Women in government, women in corporate America, women in religion, women in education, women in nonprofit work, women in entertainment, women in STEM, women in medicine, women in law, all women, mothers, working mothers, stay-at-home mothers, boss mothers, great and grandmothers, aunts, sisters, sister friends, daughters, wives, girlfriends, no matter who you are or are not. I honor you. I see you, woman. I recognize you. I lift you. I encourage you. May your load get lighter as you continue to move through life. May your light shine brighter as you continue to move through this life. May you continue to walk in your purpose. And of course, for those who have yet to discover yours, may the great Creator, our Heavenly Father, lead you, guide you along the way. Be blessed. And more importantly, or I should say equally important, be a blessing to others. Woman, I see you. All right, and that's it for our Women's History Month spotlight. We'll see what April brings us. It's going to bring us a new word, but for now, we're just going to remind you of what word we're focusing on for the balance of this month, the month of March, and that is paladin. Paladin. And again, It means an advocate, a defender, or a hero of a noble cause. Paladin. All right, everybody. So remember, if you have a product, a book, a service, or just anything you want to promote, well, not anything. I try to be a little bit, careful about what I put on the website and what I mentioned in the show. But if you want to promote something, just send an email to producer at Marilyn's Cafe Society.com, and we'll be sure to reach back out to you and get the pertinent information to you that you need. Now, on a simpler note, you can just become a friend, and if you have a business that you want to just plug, you can just do that by becoming a friend. And just make sure you get your information to me so that we can help you plug your business. All right. And speaking of plugs, I want to remind you to make sure you check out Maryland's Cafe Society.com. There you can get all the links to my social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, the blog, as well as YouTube. And remember to like, subscribe, and share, everybody. Okay. So you want to know what love is on this Saturday? You ready? I bet you can't guess, or maybe you can. You think you know me? Yeah, you're right. Love is women. Love is women. So make sure that you show some love to the women in your life and the women you come across as you move through your day and week. Not just this month, but every month. All right. All right. So remember, folks, if you don't do anything else this week, be sure that you live, you laugh, and you love. And as always, it is truly a pleasure and a privilege to hang out with you right here on Maryland's Cafe Society on YouTube. Remember to have a happy Palm Sunday and a fantastic Holy Week. And we'll talk again next Saturday, right before Easter Sunday. Peace, everybody. Make it a great week.